I'm here at Georgetown Waterfront Park on the Potomac River, which is about as close as you can get to sea level in Washington, D.C. And I'm going to be walking all the way in that direction to Point Reno, which is the highest point in D.C. at over 400 feet in elevation. Some of the sites you can see right here are the Kennedy Center, which sadly I have to boycott now, the Watergate Hotel, which Richard Nixon probably wishes his people hadn't done what they did in, and the Swedish Embassy. And there's a bunch of like fancy restaurants and stuff. Well, here goes. Had to be done. Had to be done. This neighborhood has a lot of very random public art, like this labyrinth that you could like totally, maybe possibly get lost in if you weren't paying very close attention to things. This is the first notable elevation gain of the journey, getting from the Georgetown waterfront to the Georgetown, not waterfront? I don't know what you call it. Cool. The next big elevation gain of the journey, right behind me, is the Exorcist steps, which appeared in The Exorcist. Now, I have not actually seen The Exorcist, but these steps are a notable enough location to be on Google Maps, so I have to assume somebody like died here or something in the movie. Yeah, that would make sense. And we're up. So Georgetown University is behind me over there. You can see some of the like university towers and stuff. And then there's a lot of really pretty buildings, because this is the oldest neighborhood in the city. It actually used to be an independent city before getting incorporated into DC. And a lot of the more modern buildings they created since then have been done in a kind of like brick colonial style to fit in, which is really nice. Not today, buses. Not today. So this building behind me looks like it's a fancy government building. It even kind of looks like the White House, but it's just it's just a school. But in a sense, isn't like the whole, world a school? Because like you never stop learning or something. Okay, I'm gonna leave now. And now we are on beautiful Wisconsin Avenue. which is the road that most of the rest of the walk is going to be on. We have left the residential part of Georgetown, and we're now in a more business district-y part, which is fine. And this is the not so glamorous part of the trip, where I go to Starbucks because I forgot to bring water. I'm gonna take a detour through the Georgetown flea market. Okay, well, this place has a lot of cool stuff, but I do need to move on because I am on an extremely important mission to find a little metal plaque that somebody stuck in the ground to mark this high point in a kind of random, otherwise not particularly significant field. Which, I have to focus. Can't let this flea market distract me too much. We need to move on. We have now left Georgetown and are heading into Glover Park, which, it doesn't have the same cute, brick looking buildings as Georgetown did. But this church is kind of cute. So now I'm at Holyrood Cemetery, which, according to this sign, was where a lot of the builders of the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal were buried, and is also where a lot of free and enslaved African Americans were buried. So, it sounds like an interesting place. I'm gonna take a quick walk through here, but I don't think you're supposed to film in cemeteries, so goodbye. Alright, I am back on the road now. Something that's nice about this walk is even though most of the actual walking distance is still to come, most of the elevation gain is behind us. Because there was when you go from the Georgetown waterfront to the rest of Georgetown, there's a big bunch of stairs that cover a lot of elevation gain. And then you're basically done. And the rest is really gradual slopes and stuff. So pretty nice. Hey look, it's America's pastime, even though it has been eclipsed by football in every conceivable way. Stuff like this just really brings a tear to my little map nerd heart. Right up there is the Russian embassy, and then just across the street, somebody put up all this really nice pro-Ukraine stuff on a fence. We've now entered the part of DC that feels like a big leafy green suburb that's home to a ton of rich people. The buildings around here are starting to look more and more religious-y. And do you know what that means? It's National Cathedral time! One of my favorite things about this cathedral is they put a bust of Darth Vader on it for some reason. Although, according to this sign, he is grotesque. And I know, you know, his face is a little messed up, but still, that just sounds kind of mean. So, these stained glass windows were put up to, like, commemorate the struggle for racial justice, which is pretty cool. But I do find it kind of ironic that they're right next to the grave of Woodrow Wilson, who was extremely racist and set the struggle for racial justice back by decades. I'm pretty sure that's the window that has a moon rock in it, which is really cool. Anyway, so I've heard that there are more statues, public statues, of George Washington in DC than of all real-life women combined. Which, if I wanted to be charitable, I would just say is interesting. Alright, so we've got, I think, about 1.5 miles left to go. And the walk from here is mostly residential, with a couple of, like, businesses and stuff. But we're done with most of the major tourist attractions on the route. So to keep things interesting, I'm gonna pop into a couple of random businesses. Alright, so the first store I'm gonna go into is this place, Capital Exotic Fish. And I picked this one to test out a theory that I have, which is pretty much every, like, fish store or aquarium I've ever been to, one of the first fish they have, like when you walk in, is clownfish. Because they know that kids are gonna recognize it from Finding Nemo, then they'll pester their parents to be like, I want you to buy the Nemo fish. And the Nemo fish is expensive because it's a saltwater fish, and saltwater fish are, like, more expensive to take care for. So I think, like, I bet when I walk in there, I'll probably be able to find a clownfish within the first, like, 20 seconds. So let's see how many seconds elapse before I see a clownfish.
Can you help with anything or just looking?
I'm just looking if there are clownfish.
Clownfish unfortunately shut down our saltwater section, so no clownfish.
Well, thank you.
Not a problem.
Okay. Well, I can't believe there are no clownfish there. Kind of bummed out about it, especially because this was the first time that I actually attempted to prove my theory that all aquariums have clownfish. And now my theory has been publicly and ruthlessly debunked. So that sucks. But based on what the guy said, it implies they used to have clownfish. So maybe if I had come here like a year ago, could have seen some clownfish. Sorry, everyone. So the part of DC I'm in right now, which is like the northwestern sort of fourth of the city, is known as like the fancy rich people part of DC. And you can see it, look at this thing. I don't even know what this building is. I'm not rich enough to know what this is. But you can just tell that when you look at it, it's somewhere that fancy rich people go. And you're like, I'm gonna relax in front of whatever this is. Because this is just this is cool looking. This is a really cool piece of public art. It almost makes up for the fact that there aren't any clownfish in this neighborhood. Okay, I never understood these buildings that get that narrow at one end. What are you even supposed to do with that? And now we're very much into another one of these little business district thingies. I'm pretty sure that's the official term for them. Business district thingies. And hey, we've reached the American University College of Law. That's pretty cool, I guess. Don't have anything to say about it. So DC has these signs all over the place that will tell you sort of an overview of the history of the neighborhood you're in. And then if you go to the other side, it'll tell you about whatever is notable about the specific place that you are. It's nice that this sign is here, I guess. And yeah, I've always wanted one of the a sign somewhere that's this is the least significant place in the universe. Nothing has ever happened here and nothing ever will. So if you want to create a sign like that, please go ahead and do that in a random field next to where you live. This is a cool looking library. I like it. And apparently it was closed, so they kicked me out. Okay, well now I'm gonna go into this Target and see if I can find a clownfish. Because I've been traumatized by not seeing any clownfish today. And so if I can't find a clownfish, I'm gonna be very sad. Alright, so I've only been walking around the toy section for 20 seconds. And look. Clownfish. So, pet stores in the greater Northwest DC area, take note that you have been defeated in clownfish by Target. Okay. My quest to see clownfish is fulfilled, so I guess I can go home now. Oh yeah, the highest point thing. All right. Time for the home stretch of the journey. Oh, but wait, there's a dog here. Oh, hey buddy. You wanna get petted? I think you do. This is honestly the highlight of the video. Is you petting a dog. All right, so I am at the park that has the highest point. And yeah, despite all the dramatic buildup, now is the part of the video where I'm just gonna like have to, you know, spend 15 minutes or so scouring this giant field to find like the random piece of metal that indicates you're at the highest point. And that'll probably take me 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm just gonna do this like camera off, and I'll show you when I find the thing. And there it is. So that is the end of the journey. Going from sea level to the highest point in Washington, D.C. You can see it's just a really nice, like, grassy park thingy. Now you might be curious why the highest point in DC is directly next to a hill that's like pretty noticeably taller than it. And the reason is that hill was man-made. So according to all those like high point enthusiast types, it doesn't exist. Spooky. Spooky. Anyway, this harrowing journey was accomplished over the course of like 3 or 4 hours, mostly because I stopped for a bunch of like photos and videos and stuff and some tourist attractions. But yeah, welcome to the top of the town.